are at the Arai factory in Japan. Now, few people have ever seen the process. How many people do you think touch one helmet?
Probably 100, about 100, yeah.
It takes you through and through. For this adventure, I would fly halfway around the world to Japan with a group of other motorcycle journalists, as well going to visit the Arai helmet factory and to see just how a handmade motorcycle crash helmet is created. Japan is a place where state-of-the-art technology meets the old and traditional, and the fast-paced lifestyles of today just seem to blend in with the time-honoured traditions in a somewhat seamless manner. Life here is definitely different, and I'm fascinated to see how Arai helmets also blend their long-established process with cutting-edge materials. So we're here in Tokyo. We're here to visit the Arai factory. We got in last night. A big typhoon ripped through, absolute gale force wind. So a pretty interesting start. Anyway, we're just going to head out to the Arai factory and go inside and check out how they make helmets. It's going to be amazing. I've been wearing Arai since I was a little kid, so super excited. Let's go. So after those wild winds and heavy rains had passed over, it was then time to ride out of the city and make our way over to the helmet factory. And thanks to Honda Japan, we had a fleet of bikes to choose from. As I was carrying a passenger for some of the ride, I chose the Africa Twin DCT to make it a comfortable and smooth ride for both of us, as well as having enough horsepower to keep up with some of those sportier machines around me. So here we are at the Arai factory in Japan. Now, few people have ever seen the process of what goes into making an Arai crash helmet. Now, we all know that the Arai helmet is very, very special. It's handmade, the quality is phenomenal. But really, what goes into making this helmet as special as it is? Let's go find out. Check out the process. But before I got to look around, I joined the workers in their daily morning ritual of exercises and stretches. And then it was shoes off and slippers on, as we now made our way to meet the Arai family and to hear how the Arai helmet business first started.
This photo, this is my father. This appeared in newspaper in 1930s. After the war was second, he started to make helmets for construction workers and mining workers. And after I gathered, in those days there was nothing in this country. But as soon as he earned some money to buy a motorcycle, he started to ride motorcycles. But there was a short track first started. It was not for hobby riding, but was for getting money. People give a pleasure of that. But the organizer having a trouble. A lot of their races having had engines. So hearing the rumor of there's a funny man making something for protection, they come ask my father, please make head protection for the races. That was the first motorcycle helmet sold to someone else. And that's the start of the helmet industry in this country. And I grew up seeing my father and grew up with the industry. So that's how I grew up. I'm a rider. I still think I'm a very good rider.
So we just had a great chat with Mr. Arai. He's given us the whole story, really from his father with a straw hat as a hat maker, and now what has become basically the best helmet in the whole world. Well, this is the real reason why we're here, because this is what these do. They protect you through and through, and this is some of the nastiest crashes I've ever seen on helmets. Seeing those badly crashed helmets reminded me of a few I've had myself over the years, and that is why you must wear the best helmet you can and protect your head every time you ride.
And that was a really, really horrible crash that shook us all up, but fortunately Jamie only getting away with a broken finger.
Creating a crash helmet that can withstand serious impacts is no mean feat. So let's now go inside the factory and see just how they build an Arai crash helmet. After the weave of the fibres creates a skeleton for the helmet, it is then placed in a mould, injected with a special resin formula, and then each one is baked to perfection. I never thought the process of making a shell was anything like this. Really quite phenomenal that they've actually got two pieces of mixed fiberglass that are really the sandwich of all of this. And then through that is just different layers of strength in different places. Phenomenal. What an incredible process, very impressive. Once out of the mould, it then moves on to have the visor area and the base of the helmet cut by a laser. After, it's then ready for inspection number 1. If the shell passes this inspection, it then has any rough or high spots smoothed out, and then the thickness of the shell is also tested and also weighed. So here we are at the quality inspection number 2. Each one of these guys is actually a helmet technician. They know how to make the helmets from scratch themselves. But here they are testing each one of the shells again just to see if there's any of the flaws. They're looking for the thicknesses. Can't be too thin, can't be too thick. It wants to be a very even quality helmet, and then this is from this point where we'll go to building the helmet even further. At this point, the shell is subjected to a very strict and rigorous inspection, and anything less than a perfect shell is thrown out. With the Arai procedure, shells can be traced back to who made and who handled them, so great pride is taken in doing your job, doing it well, and then putting your name on your work. So what we've got here is basically a certification from who built this helmet. So you've got the name of the guy that made it, and also the lot that it came from and date. These can be traced back to everybody who's been involved in the making of this. Once those shells have got the final okay, they then move on to the prep and paint section, which is just as rigorous. First, any tiny imperfections are filled and buffed out with a lightweight compound. Then it heads off for its first coat of primer, which once dry is then carefully sanded, and then it goes back for a second coat of primer and further sanding, always checking for imperfections and smoothing out the surface. In total there are 7 prep steps before base paint, and when it gets there, it's smoother than a baby's bottom. Once you've got the base coat and all of the nice finish, we come here for the final part, which is paint and graphics. The rest of it's going to be painted, then it goes into an oven, waits a day to set, all the masking tape comes off, then what's been painted gets masked, and then it goes to the next stage where it gets painted again, back in the oven. So quite a lot of these helmets have like a 2 or 3 stage just painting process, even before graphics, and graphics are then added, and then the rest of the helmet. So there's a lot of labour intensive work that goes in to having a finished helmet and definitely the design that you want. After each shell has made its way through the paint process, shells are then drilled, parts added, and slowly the crash helmet starts to come together. So here we have the original Arai logo, Hirataki Arai. That was the founder's name, but of course in English language that just says ha. So they changed the name, and then it was just concentrated on the Arai surname and new logo. But here they have cool graphics with an old school logo. The EPS liner that goes in is actually slightly bigger than the helmet, because obviously the helmet is wider here and then comes in. So they actually have to really physically push that EPS liner right there into the helmet and then wiggle it into shape, making sure that everything lines up with all of the holes that have been pre-drilled. This is a real handmade helmet. So now we're in the department of the fit and finish really. So we're putting the EPS liner in, and then also the straps, and what this lady's doing is putting the air vents, the rubber air vents in just at the top where the visor sits. It's incredible how much labour intensive work goes into making one Arai helmet. So Aki, I have to ask you, there's a lot of people involved in making an Arai helmet. How many people do you think touch one helmet from the start of the process to the end?
Yeah, it's a difficult question, but probably 100, about 100, yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Have you built your own helmet ever?
I built, but I work for assembly factory in paint and dressing service and shell molding.
So you did
Probably I can build, but I respect other stuff.
Yeah. So you worked in the molding department, so you can make the shell?
Yeah. In the past 25 years ago, I also worked at shell molding.
Yeah. So you really understand the process.
Yeah,
and the people.
yeah, I understand how it's difficult
Yes, very
to
difficult.
create this helmet.
I see.
Yeah.
Very difficult. Back here is just basically almost the last little part of the jigsaw really. The front part goes into place, and then it's these cheek pads that really hold the face. Now what's special about these at Arai, there are so many parts that go into this. This is not just an easy little fit and finish. Nearly 20 parts go into making just this little cheek pad, and it also is designed so it really goes underneath the cheek and holds your head in place and also reduces noise, but at the same time that also makes it difficult to get a helmet on and off. So Arai have designed this real nice foam piece that will just fold back as you take the helmet on and off, so it's easier to get on, easier to get off, but at the same time, as soon as it goes into place, it holds your chin and your cheek all in place, not too tightly so you can still talk, and it's not uncomfortable, but it's definitely secure. Inspected again before boxing, helmets can even be rejected even at the end of this whole process. So no Arai helmet makes it into a box unless all high standards are met. And it is as perfect as Arai can create. And the reason is yes, so it will be comfortable and in the style you prefer. But the main reason is protection. Because Arai helmets go well over the highest testing standards and do their best to protect you and your head.
If it's not strong enough, it will get cut and stop it. That gets energy going to helmet. But with this, with the helmet, balance and slide.
Hi, Mr. Arai. Thank you for inviting me to your factory.
Thank you very much for your coming.
Yeah, it's been incredible.
I'm really pleased that you could come up and see us.
I've been wearing an Arai helmet since I was a small boy.
Well, thank you very much.
10 years old, 11 years old, I think my father bought my first motocross helmet. I have many decades of riding and lots of enjoyment from your helmet.
Thank you.
You know, you are protecting riders around the world. How much information comes from the racer?
Well, a lot comes from us. The first thing we did when I decided to more deep into protection, racing was something really informative now. If it's from a regular accident, we don't have much information. But from racing, we can, some guy can be there and have more information. But even those guys are there, it is not much information we can get. All the mechanism is so complicated, and so it's a really big pressure to us, and knowing that even the helmets can fail to give protection, we have to face it. So at least what I could do is to struggle.
Everybody who works in the factory is very dedicated.
Thank you.
Everyone is following your direction, so you're doing an incredible job with your people, and their process is really fantastic.
I didn't do much, but what I did was I didn't give up. I believe one day I'm going to do it, and kept doing it. Keep doing something better than not doing, and better to do than not doing. There isn't much I can be proud about it, but at least I didn't give up.
I'm very pleased that you didn't give up, because the helmet is just getting better and better and better.
Just a small increment.
Yeah, but the feel, for me, all the way since I was a small kid, it always felt special. Putting on a helmet always felt special.
Thank you very much. Well, because I wear myself too, so I don't feel right. And if I put it on and don't feel right, we need to change it.
Yes.
So that if I feel my requirements.
Yeah. Well, thank you for your dedication, and it's been a really wonderful experience coming to your factory.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming.
I'm very proud to wear an Arai. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So there you have it. Can you believe what one helmet goes through from start to finish? It's incredible. I can't believe the process of making a helmet. It's just unfathomable that so much effort will go into making one crash helmet. It's like no other, but the best bit is it's all about protection. It's protecting you. If you need a good helmet, there's only one, an Arai. Amazing. At the end of the tour, I was told that one of the shell creators was a fan of MotoGeo, and he kindly bought some swag from our online shop. So I left my mark on a MotoGeo cap. The next morning we would leave the Arai factory and head off for a ride on our choice of Hondas, while all sporting the new Arai Regent-X model. Once out of that traffic, it was then all about the corners, as we were now heading where there was little traffic, and thankfully that scenery had turned from buildings to nature. Now the biggest differences for me riding over here in Japan seem to be the road markings and road signs, as I have absolutely no idea what they say or mean. And also, like England and Thailand, remembering to ride on the left side of the road. But it's beautiful here, and these traditional homes and the small vehicles are a constant reminder that we're somewhere very different. And lunch was another hint, as there are definitely no burgers here. And after a gorgeous lunch of fresh sushi, it was then back on our bikes to enjoy these twisty mountain roads, as we now continued our way through this lush green countryside. And with a mixture of tunnels, bridges, beautiful scenery and fantastic corners, it was a fun afternoon ride with my fellow motorcycling journalists. And it was just too easy to enjoy the flow of the turns on the Africa Twin. But wherever and whatever you ride, always protect your head, as one day you might be glad you did.